Miss. I said this is going to be nothing. This is on me, guys. We're home. We're home because of me, because I said this would be nothing. So y'all blame me.
Well, I thought it would be not.
I don't really know how bad it is outside. I mean, I know what it looks like from my window, but I have not turned on the TV once, Lance. Have you? I mean, I don't know. Travel problems around Central Alabama. Is it really bad?
Okay, so you and I debated this yesterday when we were talking about Tyler, whether he's getting a hotel room, where he was staying, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't think it's going to start coming down till 5. And you were like, I think more 4. At like 2:45, I heard like hail hitting my deck, and I looked out, and I could see ice was already forming before 3 a.m. And I was like, there's no chance we're going in. I did talk to our buddy Bo O'Neill, our director of sales, just a little bit ago, and he's out driving around. He's got a 4-wheel drive though. And he's like, do not attempt this. Like, if you guys need anything, I can bring it to you. He had to run a couple of errands. He was like, roads are not good. So,
oh, wow.
And that was like 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I was out just down our neighborhood. Now that's neighborhood roads, so people aren't driving on them, but they're completely covered. We had some good sledding going on next door. So the neighborhood kids out enjoying it, but it doesn't look fun. This looks like a good day just to hang at the house and stay warm and don't do anything.
Yeah, that's what I'll end up doing. Probably all weekend. Maggie's out of town, so I'll just camp out here and watch Texas tonight, playoff games tomorrow, basketball tomorrow, and then playoff games on Sunday. And see you guys on Monday morning after we finish the show here today. So we're going to go commercial free for a couple of hours here. That's what we're going to do. Brought to you by our usual sponsors, LTD&B. Taylor Korn, I believe, is fired up, ready to go. Everything social media from her friendly combines. She is setting confines. She is setting at her house, and she'll have everything going out as we do the show normally. Forrester and everyone else is along for the ride to help us out if needed. So thanks for being patient with us. We just did not want to not do a show and just take a vacation day. We wanted to be here and talk about mainly the college football playoffs and the NFL playoffs. And we'll start with the college football playoffs and what we saw last night as Notre Dame beat Penn State 27-24 in what was a tremendously entertaining game. Now, I know occasionally we will venture into the wagering side of things, and I didn't play a side. I played the under. And I've never, after 3 quarters or half, the first half, and then 3 quarters, had I ever felt like I was going to win a game on an under. Then all of a sudden they score 31 points. LT in the fourth quarter, it got slick there at the end and went over.
Yeah, as bad as it was for you, I stayed away from the total. I had a big 7-star on Penn State. I absolutely loved them in this spot. My one, hesitation was James Franklin. Now 1-15 against top 5s. You can't make that up. But yeah, 31 points scored in the fourth quarter. You know, back in the day, you used to worry about some of these college games. If it got to overtime, a tight game, maybe back and forth, that would send it over. But now once you get to that third overtime and you go to 2-point conversions, seems highly unlikely. I mean, that game was absolutely flying under. And with those two defenses, for them to put up 31 in the fourth quarter was pretty crazy.
Yeah. So let's talk about James Franklin and how he handled the end of that game, and then we'll go back and talk about all the game. But the end, you got 40 seconds, you got 2 timeouts, balls that you're into the field. There are some people would say, okay, let's just take this to overtime. How risky? What's the risk reward of trying to pass our way into field goal range? And then the worst case happened. Drew Allard throws the interception, and Notre Dame gets a 41-yard field goal to win the thing. Let's go you first, LT. Drew, that decision, not the interception, but the decision to be really aggressive there and be throwing the football with 40 seconds left, 2 timeouts, trying to get in game in field goal range to win the game in regulation.
Yeah, I think what happened there, and I was, Greg McElroy was like, you got 2 timeouts, you've got 47 seconds left, you've got to be aggressive. I agree, but they came out, they run the football with Nick Singleton. I think if he picks up 3 or 4, they probably do nothing. They take it to overtime. He, had a 13-yard gash there, and at that point, I think they were going to get aggressive. And Drew Allard just made a really bad decision. We talked about how well he's been at protecting the football in 2+ years. I mean, going into the game, 53 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions, and it was their first turnover of the night. Horrific timing, great play from Christian Gray. Terrible decision, to throw back over, the opposite way that your body's going, back against it. I mean, look, it was just a bad decision from Drew Aller. You heard him after the game, how upset he was, and he said he's got to be better. I didn't have a problem with him being aggressive at all. It was just a terrible decision.
I think too, though, Dunaway, it's got to be situational, right? And quarterback play in that game was not good on both sides. And if you're James Franklin, you got fortunate that 2 interceptions got wiped by pass interference calls. Or actually, one was a defensive hold, which I thought was a good call. The second was a pass interference, which by the letter of the law was pass interference. But that was such a bad throw that it wasn't even close to where the pass interference actually occurred. I mean, the guy intercepted it like 2 yards in front of it.
That was just terrible face guarding. I mean, they had to call it, but
I know
it was such a bad throw. I mean, it was straight up pick. I mean, what do you do in that situation? But with the face guard, I think you had to call.
Yeah, but so you've had your quarterback's made 2 bad throws that got bailed out. I mean, I know you would normally be aggressive in that situation, but it's got to be situational. This is easy to say in hindsight, but man, it just felt like, let's go to overtime and see what we do here. You know, we got a good run game. I feel pretty good about us in overtime.
But that's it, guys. I felt like with the dual-headed monster of the running game and Tyler Warren, if we got into red zone football, if we survived the first overtime and then got to the 2-point conversion part of it, I felt like advantage was going to be Penn State. Maybe you guys do or do not with Riley Leonard's legs, but I don't know. It's easy for me to say I would have set on that thing and taken it to overtime after the interception. Another thing to consider when you're making that choice is that this stat is still amazing as I wake up today, and I saw it last night before I fell asleep, that Penn State's wide receivers, the true wide receiver positions, had 0 catches.
That's
for
it.
0 yards.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're going to do a drive there with 40 seconds and 2 timeouts. Probably going to have to factor in a group of receivers that had 0 yards to that point.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, look, you know, you asked yesterday towards the end of the show what the keys were in one of these teams winning this game. And I said, for Penn State, it's about Singleton and Allen running the football. And look, they went over 200 yards, averaged almost 5 yards a carry. They did everything they needed to do to win this game. I have never seen that outside of, you know, one of our service academies where you can play a full 60 minutes of football in a really competitive game and you have 0 receptions from your wide receivers. I mean, you know, they brought it up, I think, like midway through the third quarter. But yeah, just confirming that this morning through the box score, it's pretty insane that 0 receivers had a reception.
Yeah, that's hard to do. I mean, like you said, Service Academy running the triple option, even a receiver gets a catch for them. And look, their best receivers, they're tight end, who is kind of in this mold of the NFL tight ends where he really is a receiver, right? But I mean, just the fact that you didn't move it around anymore. And hey, by the way, what turned out to be a big play when you were talking about liking the under Dunaway, when you get a running back drop a walk-in touchdown in the first quarter, I mean, you feel like the under is pretty good, right? I mean, at the time,
yeah, you ducked out for a minute, Brown. We were talking about, because Dunaway had the under, I had Penn State. Yeah. We're double losers here. But for them to score 31 in the fourth with those 2 defenses, I mean, there was no chance that game was going over.
None whatsoever.
But I'll tell you, when it got to 10-10, I checked the live total. I think it went up to like 34.5, and I was like, man, it's just the way they're playing. You know, you talk about the middle 8 all the time.
Yeah.
And for Notre Dame. And Angeli, the way he played coming in, going 6-7, I mean, that kid looked like, you know, he'd been starting all year. You know, different type of quarterback, doesn't run it like Riley Leonard, but I mean, he was cool, calm, collective, let them down for 3, and then they come right back when they receive the kick in the second half and go down and get 7. When they tied it up 10-10, I was like, damn, it looks like these offenses are kind of adjusted. And then you go to the fourth quarter with nobody else scoring, and I was like, it's going to be a graveyard. We're going to go to overtime. It's going to be like 17-17, and somebody's going to win a low-scoring game.
Yeah. So Notre Dame wins to advance 27-24. We'll break down what that means for Notre Dame, what it means for James Franklin, what it means for Drew Aller moving forward, because he's already committed to coming back to Penn State next year, and just the aftermath, the fallout of the win last night, 27-24 for Notre Dame. And we're about to talk about Texas and Ohio State tonight as well. Show being brought to you by a couple of great folks. Our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing is one of them. That's Greg from Pell City. Greg is going to sit at home with a nice cup of coffee today, like everyone. You don't get on icy roofs. but he'll be back at it on Monday, and he'll give you a free no-cost roof inspection. Just do me a favor, go look up Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing on the internet. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. Start right there, A+ rated. It is locally owned, and it has been locally owned for over 20 years. Now, what that does is that means that Greg and his wife Andrea, they have a great working relationship with the fine folks who decide whether your insurance actually gets done or not. And they can help you. And I know this from a fact because Greg has worked with a friend of mine, and their insurance, which was being reluctant on giving what Greg thought was a full absolute what they actually needed to be paying. And he kept fighting with them and ended up absolutely 100% getting a full payment there. Greg from Pell City, Storm Restoration Roofing, professional, honest, and great integrity. All you have to do is look him up on Facebook. You can go check out their website, stormrestorationroofing.com, stormrestorationroofing.com, or always call Greg on his cell phone and he'll hook you up. Always easy to contact, 205-542-3531, 542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. Also, our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100. That is the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. I had the 2200 vision, legally blind without the aid of contacts after the procedure, which only took 12 minutes for both eyes. 2015 vision. I've still got it 2 decades later. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jim Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She will hook you up with an absolutely free consultation. You have 0 to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. For more information, MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Hey, Dunaway, can I say
Yes.
one thing real quick?
Yes.
One thing I learned last night, Greg McElroy has way more confidence in college kickers than me. Like, I know Jeter's a good kicker, but when McElroy was saying, hey, if you break free, you do not want to score right here, I'm like, dude, you never leave it in the hand of a college kicker. I get that in the NFL, but not in college.
I didn't understand that comment at all. You know,
I
I like
didn't
Greg
either.
a lot, but, you know, if you're going to score with under 40 seconds to go,
Yes.
what are the chances, again, with Penn State having 0 receptions from a wide receiver, they're going to get multiple explosive plays to put them in a situation to win a game with a touchdown. I mean, at that point, you are scoring if you can score.
Yeah, and by the way, Jeter's kick didn't exactly go right down the middle. When that thing started out, I thought he was going to miss it.
And it started to break right.
Yeah.
And then it just all of a sudden, it's like the Notre Dame, touchdown Jesus caught it and blew it back.
I saw somebody say God blew that kick back in, man. That thing was going to miss.
Well, another amazing stat in the college football playoff history. The Alabama fans are going to know one of these kicks very well, but that was the first go-ahead kick to take the lead in the fourth quarter in college football playoff history. It had never
I
been
saw
done
that last
before.
night going into it because they tried to jinx Jeter, and they said kickers were 0 for 4 all time on go-ahead kick. Hey, did you guys realize an African-American coach is going to coach for the national championship?
I've heard that once.
Yeah, I'm glad it's go again.
Yeah, I'm glad it's Freeman.
I'm glad, man. Marcus Freeman, by the way, happy birthday today, 39 years old, coming up in 4 downs. So excited for Marcus Freeman. And I love the fact that they continue to try to push that narrative. You know, we can't play the national anthem for the Sugar Bowl, but boy, we're going to push this narrative. And he said after that, he was like, look, it's all about the kids. I don't care if it's black, Asian, or white. I'm just glad people have opportunity to coach these type of kids. So I love the fact that he deflected it. It wasn't about him. I love Marcus Freeman. His stock continues to go up. And by the way, I will say it with a clean read. As good as he is as a recruiter, James Franklin will never be in this situation again, ever. There is a reason he is 1-15 against top 5 teams. He had a 10-point lead. He blew it. He had a fourth quarter lead. He blew it. He just can't win these games.
Big game James. Lance says big game James. Never been back to the semis, Dunaway.
Let's go Marcus Freeman first. By the way, I was flipping through social media earlier today, and I wish I could give credit to the name of their podcast, but it was 2, I'd say 27 to 32-year-old women that were talking sports and college football.
I saw this.
And they were like, Marcus Freeman, hottest coach easily in college football, hottest head coach in all of sports. And they were like, absolutely. His jawline is snatched. I guess that's a good thing. His jawline is snatched. And they were just talking about how hot he was and how they were thankful for his success. And I took it that the Georgia, one of them was a Georgia girl, because they were like, I don't understand you cheering for him, just because he knocked your team out of the playoffs. And she was like, he's hot. I'm going to cheer for him because he's hot. He also is young at 39 as of today. Did we love him though? And I want us to be honest. I meant to go back and look, but I didn't. On the Monday show after the 16-14 loss to Northern Illinois, I would
Nope.
imagine if we go back and pull that show up, we say some embarrassing
No,
things.
no, no. I mean, I remember saying it, though, but I mean, what I said still is true. Those games have been his Achilles heel. Like, Lance, outside of these weird double-digit upsets, that guy has won a ton of games at Notre Dame. About the only blemish is what he has done against Northern Illinois and Marshall, and there's one other. I can't remember the other. But Northern Illinois and Marshall, like, you can't take them away because he played them, he lost them. But if you take those away, I mean, it's a pretty sterling resume for this guy so far.
Well, you go back. I mean, again, now he is 14-5 against top 25 teams. I mean, that's pretty incredible. But you go back, they go into College Station, their defense wins them that game. And the very next week, it is a baffling loss. And since that point, they've won 13 consecutive games. Like, I mean, if they played Northern Illinois right now, they win the game by 40 points. That game was in South Bend. It makes no sense.
Do you think, Dunaway, people in the mybookie.ag chat room are saying, how bad does this look for Brian Kelly? Now, do you think that will always be the comparison, that Marcus Freeman and Brian Kelly will kind of be linked, and as one has more success than the other, which is right now Marcus Freeman, it's going to make it really won't ever make Freeman look bad, actually. It's just really going to make Brian Kelly look bad. Do you guys see that?
I do, LT. I mean, Brian Kelly literally said, I came to LSU because I wanted to compete for a national championship.
Yeah. So I got a text from one of our really big LSU fans. You guys know who I'm talking about last night. He's like, do you think we could trade Brian Kelly back for Marcus Freeman? I said, the funny thing is, I think Notre Dame fans were so pissed because they're like, well, we'll give this Marcus Freeman guy a chance, but Brian Kelly leaving basically tells us we're never going to win a national championship. We haven't won one since 1988. He could get us there, but we just didn't have the talent once we got there. So, yeah, I think that's going to be a storyline that will follow Brian Kelly till the end of his coaching days. I've got Brian Kelly along with Marcus Freeman in a relevant question coming up on 4 Downs.
All right.
Jeremiah Love gutted it out last night, had a powerful run inside the 5 for a touchdown. Jaden Greathouse, I don't expect you to have heard of him. I had not before last night. 6 catches, 95 yards. Maybe at least 2 of the routes I saw him run last night, 2 of the slowest routes I've ever seen run, but they were effective. Penn State players were dropping as he was running his route. He was so good at cutting. 6 catches, 95 yards, both career highs for him last night.
Yeah,
So
I mean, look,
they're just such a team.
They are, and they've got that freshman tight end that's going to be really good. But, Greathouse, sophomore from Austin. When you start to look at this, and I brought this up with the Al Golden defense on Monday, in a lot of given times, you've got 4 true freshmen and 4 true sophomores out there. So, like, what they've got coming back, they've got to figure out quarterback. I mean, I know they said they weren't going to go portal this coming up year. The Angeli, though, I think he's going to be fine. So, I mean, I guess that is a guy that they're very comfortable with.
I mean,
in hindsight, that drive before the half, that field goal was huge. It changed the momentum, I thought.
Yeah, and he came in and threw better passes than Riley Leonard was throwing, to the point that, there was at least the discussion of, are you 100% certain you go back to Riley Leonard here? Because you didn't know, right? I mean, he went out with concussion, the fear of a concussion. And I've seen that, with Tua, of course, as a Dolphins fan. Like, sometimes they get clear and they come back and they're still in the fog, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know how that process goes. So I don't know if it's like, maybe he's okay. Like, I didn't think you should have left him in there, but I thought he looked really good in that one drive.
Speaking of the concussion protocol, when Tyler Warren hit his head, I was like, damn, that looked a lot worse than Riley Leonard's. But, I think if you're Mike Denbrock and you're Marcus Freeman, you're like, Angeli looks like, I mean, you talk about a confident kid. And, he did it in the bowl. It was last year in the bowl game. I mean, so I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. So I guess that's the direction they go. But, if you have an opportunity, I heard, Miami is kind of the leading destination right now for Carson Beck. But if you could get a Carson Beck, or maybe even a guy we'll see tonight in Quinn Ewers, if you're Notre Dame, what do you do?
Yeah. We'll talk more about Carson Beck's decision coming up. You guys all know he's in the portal, what his landing spot could be, and our thoughts on him hitting the portal and what's going on with Kirby Smart in Georgia. All that coming up as we move throughout the show on a snow day here. We're all forced remotely because of a little ice and snow in the Birmingham area, but we wanted to jump on here for a couple hours to talk Notre Dame and Penn State, Texas and Ohio State, and the Carson Beck move and everything else going on in sports. Being brought to you today by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. UrologyCentersAlabama.com. Wonderful folks there that will help you. Everything from prostate health to kidney stones, vasectomies, and everything in between. Your urological health is so important. And as you get older, you want to stay on top of any changes you have. And that's what UCA can do for you. 16 locations, 35 urologists, a location near you in Central Alabama. Go online and check it out, UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UrologyCentersAlabama.com, and also by our friends at Odie's today.
I don't know if Odie's is open. I would assume it is.
Maybe tonight.
You know, it would be for sure, because it is the ultimate neighborhood bar. Both locations, the original and Crestline, people walk there from their homes all the time. Kids are out of school. So if you're listening to us, you're on that side of town, you got a 4-wheel drive, you can make it, enjoy some great food from Rodney Davis. The newest location right there in Edgewood, a lot of people walking around the Homewood area, walking up there and enjoying some of that great food. Ice cold beer buckets, the Odie's Famous Cup cocktails. They'll be open for live music tonight and tomorrow night. You can watch Texas, Ohio State there. Get in, see Will Haber and that great staff. It's Birmingham institution. It's Odie Tavern. Can I bring up something on third down conversions?
Yes.
Yeah. Like that to me, when McElroy brought this up, Notre Dame was the worst of Power 4 teams in converting third and I think 6+. And last night, Notre Dame was 11 of 17 on third downs. On the other side, Penn State was 3 of 11 on third downs. So we brought this up, how good Al Golden's defense has been in third down situations. Now through 3 playoff games, they're only allowing 9 of 35 on third downs.
Incredible.
Like, if they continue to do that, I don't know how you can lose. Like, they lost the turnover battle last night, but they're so good of getting off the field. If you can't move the chains, you can't score.
And it's the other side of the ball. I get this, but they also won that game with their left tackle going out and their quarterback missing a drive and their center getting hurt. I mean, that's pretty impressive, man, to do all they did. Now you got to give all kinds of credit to, why can I not say his name? Penn State number 11 that played with the injured shoulder.
Oh, Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. Oh my gosh, that guy was a beast last night.
Well, and this was another adjustment. McElroy talked about, typically he is up on the right side.
That's right.
But because of that left shoulder, he was playing it away from contact. But then it looked like Notre Dame made the adjustments because Carter was much more of a factor in the first half. He had 2 tackles for loss. He had the sack. And that's another thing. I don't know if you guys felt this, and it probably played out differently because the game was so tight. But it seemed like the halftime adjustments definitely went in the favor of Notre Dame. And
Yeah,
I'm not saying just because they won the game. Even if Aller would have gone down without the pick and they would have walked it off with a field goal, I thought the halftime adjustments definitely favored what Notre Dame's coaching staff did.
The first drive for a touchdown right out of the locker room to even things up. That showed a lot. They went 17 unanswered points before it became a shootout down the stretch there. Notre Dame wins it. They also, because they won it, their college football playoff total now is up to $20 million that they do not have to split with conference affiliates. So 20 million just bonus dollars for Notre Dame athletics there. Congratulations to them.
And don't you just put that back in the kitty? We keep hearing these $20 million NIL budgets. Like, if I'm Notre Dame, hey, Marcus, happy birthday. You know what we're going to do with this $20 million?
That's right.
We're going to give it to you for NIL.
We're going to get better. We're going to get better.
Yeah. Now to James Franklin and Drew Aller. First, Drew Aller. I thought he was shaky all night. Didn't play good all night long. He was shaky. It was a big stage for him, and he's a veteran. He's quarterbacked a lot of football games. Made a big deal about coming back, going to play one more year. I think we said on the show, maybe even yesterday, that he has a chance to be the first overall pick or the number 1 quarterback taken next year in the NFL draft. The moment was too big for him. He didn't play a good game.
Yeah, I agree. 12 of 35, 135 yards, had the 1 pick there at the end. He had one really nice throw to Tyler Warren on the sideline. and McElroy really talked about that. It was a great throw. It was like a 25-yard pickup. But for this guy to have all of the experience and to play in a lot of these big games, obviously they haven't won these big games, but he had like nervous feet last night. He never looked comfortable.
Yeah, and he said he was trying to throw away the game-ending interception there. How about putting in the first row? I mean,
how about taking a sack?
Yeah,
that's not the worst thing you can do in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, overtime is not a bad option there. Like you were playing the odds to drive down and get points right there anyway. Overtime is not a bad option. The last thing, if you're going to throw it away, he said, I was trying to put it at the guy's feet, kill it at his feet. You can't throw late over the middle of the field. I mean, if you're going to throw it away, throw it away. Let's don't try to put it at a guy's feet. Put it in the fifth row. They're not, even if they flag you for grounding, what's the worst that could happen there? You go to overtime.
Yeah, at that point, you help your coach out on a tough decision. Well,
yeah,
we got sacked. Let's just kneel it. Let's go to overtime.
That's right.
I sort of heard it as if he was trying to throw it low, so his guy could be the only one to catch it, which he was not able to do.
He did say Dunaway. He came out and said he was trying to ground it, which was really weird. Like, if you're going to ground it, why not ground it towards the sideline?
Yes.
With the momentum that you've got moving that direction, to throw back across the body. I mean, it just made no sense.
Should have thrown it away was his big quote last night. And it's something that will haunt him and maybe this Penn State program for a long, long time. And then there's James Franklin, which I know we've all been dying to talk about. What is it now, LT? 13 straight losses against the top 5?
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, he's 1-15, so I don't know how many straight matters. He just, I don't know, guys. I mean, he's got equivalent talent, right? I mean, you can make an argument that he had more talent or as much talent as Notre Dame. Some of these matchups with Michigan and Ohio State, maybe not as much talent, but I mean, hell, you play that many games. I mean, 2 or 3 just fall to you based on, bounces and
dumb luck.
Yeah. I don't get this.
Yeah. It's what's plagued him, and it will always be the burden he bears until he can prove it otherwise. And really, to prove it otherwise, he's going to now have to get past the semifinals probably and win a national championship. Like, even a regular season win over Ohio State is probably not going to shake this for James Franklin now.
And let me ask you guys this, because we talked about it the other day, of these 4 fan bases, like Ohio State's got to finish the deal, but are the other 3 contend? And I think we all agreed, yeah, they probably are. But now if you're Penn State, if you process it, damn, he got an SMU draw at home, and then they play Boise State.
Easiest path.
Yeah, and then you have a 10-point lead against Notre Dame, which I'm not going to say is offensively challenged, but, Notre Dame wins games with their defense. 10-point lead is pretty big when you've got the defense that Penn State has, and so you blow that game. I wonder in retrospect how Penn State fans feel today about James Franklin.
Well, the winner moves on, and it is Notre Dame to take on the winner of tonight's game, Texas and Ohio State. As always, our buddy Chip Brown talks Texas with us. He is in Dallas, side of tonight's Cotton Bowl, and he joins us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Good morning, Chip. How are you, buddy?
Hey, y'all want to see this winter weather?
And we got some too, my man. What you got there in Dallas?
Oh, that's nothing on we got.
That's nothing compared to Birmingham. Your streets are clear, man. We're stuck at home.
That's nothing. Y'all are in the North Pole, baby.
Hey, so Chip, before we get on this game, I said it, and we were talking about James Franklin right when you came on. I don't know how much you heard, but now he's very well documented. 1-15.
I think he's 1-18.
Wow. I think it's 1-15. I mean, we're probably going to exaggerate this by kick of next year, or by Big Ten Media Days, he's going to be 1-25. With all that said, I say clean read today. He can recruit well. I think based on the path that he got, and I really think the committee is going to take a look in college football. They're going to do something about how this seeding goes based on the way this played out this year. I don't think James Franklin ever gets back to this situation and getting to a semifinal.
James Franklin reminds me of Mac Brown.
Mac won a national.
That's diminishing Mac Brown.
Vince Young won a national championship. Let's make that perfectly clear. Vince Young made it un-F-uppable. Mac Brown won.
Chip, I mean, Mac did it in 05 and 09 when it was the BCS. I mean, there is not a chance in hell, if there was only 2 teams playing for a national championship, that James Franklin, I don't care who the quarterback is, would ever get there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's crazy. And imagine if James Franklin had won. like his ego, would it even fit inside the state lines of Pennsylvania?
No.
Yeah, we had discussed that yesterday, Chip. That of the two, Alabama fans and the Southern fans do not like Notre Dame. And the debate was, do you live with Notre Dame being good again, or James Franklin winning a national championship? And
Oh,
it
I
was a tough
bet
debate
the
because
phone
of that
lines
ego.
lit up like Christmas trees.
Yeah, hard to do there. So it's Texas and Ohio State. I got a friend with the Cotton Bowl that said, sure, proximity Texas, obviously with the crowd, but he was telling me that ticket sales, I don't know if all of them would be able to get there, but he says it's closer to 50-50 than you would think of Texas and Ohio State on the ticket sale department. You're gonna be shocked tonight if you get to the stadium and it's 60-40 Texas, or 55-45 if it's close.
Yeah, that'd be surprising. I mean, look, Ohio State fans are nuts. I think they're the worst fans in college football. But I would think it would be 65-35 Texas. If it's 50-50, man, Texas fans, what is wrong with y'all?
I would agree. Go ahead, Lance.
Well, I wanted to ask Chip why. It's just funny when we're all affiliated with college football, as long as we are, how we view different college football fan bases. And you just said Ohio State is the worst. And look, I've had some encounters with Ohio State fans. I think you can make an argument when you look at all the big fan bases that they are the worst. Why do you describe Ohio State as the worst fans?
Because when I went there in 2005, I'm getting out of my car. I'm a reporter. I've got a backpack. I'm always in black at games, neutral. And this Yahoo comes up to me and is like, "You from Texas?" And I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Oh, we're going to beat your fucking ass." I'm like, "Yo, I'm actually from Michigan." And he's like, "Oh my God." I'm like, "Who is this mouth breathing, window licking fool?" Like, he doesn't know me from Adam. I just had to say I was from Texas, and I'm suddenly the antichrist. So it was, and then the school issued an apology letter because there were women getting knocked into, and Texas fans were like, "What on earth? We just walked into the gates of hell." So, yes, I'm from Michigan. So that my dad had a toilet that said "flush twice. It's a long way to Columbus." So, that might have a little something to do with it.
That's fantastic, by the way. Chip Brown is with us 24/7, Chip Brown 247 on social media. He will be over at Jerry World tonight for Texas and Ohio State. This Texas team, we played a cut from Quinn Ewers and another player. I can't remember the other player. Dunaway may remember. They were both your questions, and both of them kind of said the same thing. They were embracing this underdog mentality. And Quinn Ewers even said, "We know field goals are going to do us no good." Has Sark kind of sold this to this team that you're the underdog? We're going to go in, we're going to play it like we're the underdog and see what happens?
For sure. Sark plays that stuff up, and he loves it. He's had them, chewing glass and snacking on nails all week. As the disrespected team. And look, Arizona State was the disrespected team. They came in with their claws out, and they made, Texas overlooked them. I mean, which I said, if it's possible for there to be a look ahead game in the college football playoff, it was Texas, Arizona State. And sure enough, the offensive line played like crap. The offense played like crap until it absolutely had to have it on 4th and 13. And I think Quinn Ewers picked up something there. Like, I really feel like he's walking around with the Superman cape all of a sudden. Like, he proved to himself that he could do it. He won over the fan base by doing it. I mean, he's obviously got to do it tonight, but I'll give that kid credit with all the noise around him. And he's played through an oblique injury, an ankle injury. He's getting healthier, but he came up when he had to have it, check that play into a max protection, threw a perfect ball, extends the season. now let's see if they've had that edge of the cliff moment, that Thelma and Louise moment where they, somehow survive. Didn't actually go over the cliff, just looked over the edge of the cliff. And let's see if they put it together, because this Texas defense is legit. And I can't wait to see this matchup, Jahdae Barron, against Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka. And I think it's going to be a hell of a game. It's got to be better than what we saw last night. Good God, that was the worst game I've ever seen. Like the best ending, but even, if you're a Penn State fan, it was a terrible ending. That game was hard to watch, but hey, Notre Dame, luck of the Irish.
Chip, if Texas is going to win this game as now a 6-point underdog, they're going to have to do more what they did against Clemson. And I know Clemson had some opportunities offensively late, but Texas ran for 292 yards. They only ran for 53 against Arizona State. I mean, that discrepancy is massive. Now they're going against what is a much better defense than either Clemson or Arizona State. And only 2 penalties against Clemson, but 10 penalties against Arizona State. Why so inconsistent from one week to the next?
Yeah, I think that this offense bogged down. They were killing people through the first 6 games of the year. They were covering every time. Good teams win, great teams cover. Then Quinn, gets hurt and the offense bogged down. He never looked comfortable. Like against Oklahoma, against Georgia the first time, although I'll give them credit, they outscored Georgia 15-0 in the third quarter. It was a 1-possession game, but by then the defense was totally worn out. And so they gave up another touchdown and they lost. But he got benched in that game. And then, I thought he was terrible against Arkansas. Like he missed a couple of point blank throws that would have extended the lead in that game. And I was like, okay, dude, and I wrote this, his agent let me have it. I said, he's got to elevate or this team's not going to reach its goals. And I think he elevated on the final 3 plays of the Arizona State game. So we'll see.
What did his agent say to you? Why is his agent calling you out? The guy's getting paid millions of dollars.
Hey, I think his agent liked me for a minute,
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you the impact of Cameron Williams. It looks like he'll be back. Didn't play in the Arizona State game. Does that help this offense a little bit as well?
We'll see. I mean, he's got a knee sprain. This is a little bit on the early end of the recovery return. But if Cam Williams we never talked to him. And, he's an impressive human being when you see him come out of the tunnel. But let's see, because he was the weak link in the Georgia game. He got overrun. If he's struggling tonight with Sawyer or JTT, then, I think you're looking at Trevor Gooseby coming back into the game. And Kelvin Banks is playing on an ankle. Now that's gotten better, but that's definitely a matchup to watch because both of Texas's offensive tackles are banged up, playing hurt.
Well, hopefully it's a classic tonight. We finally are getting some close games in the college football playoff. Texas played in overtime. We narrowly avoided overtime last night. Hopefully we got a good one tonight. I would imagine you get a really good TV number last night. A lot of America is like us, just kind of snowed in and hanging at home. A good one tonight, Chip. This could be a massive TV number for this game.
Yeah. And it's, I'm really looking forward to it. This reminds me of the Texas Ohio State game in 2005 when Vince Young went up there and beat AJ Hawk and Bobby Carpenter and Eric Schlegel. This Santonio Holmes was in that game, had a huge touchdown catch. This game reminds me of that, and that one went down to the last minute. I think this will be the same.
I know you've heard off the record, and I don't know how much you can share with us, Quinn Ewers and his future. I know he wants to be a first-round guy. There are teams that will reach his inconsistencies. I don't think he's going to be a first-round guy. We'll see. Do you think there's a better chance? Like, is there any way he stays in Austin first? And then is there a better chance that he transfers out, still plays college football next year with another program, or he does go in the NFL? What are you hearing right now?
Well, the plan when he walked on senior day was to go to the NFL. He's a redshirt junior. and he walked on senior day, that the plan was for him to go to the NFL. The last thing he wants is to go to another program. He wants a legacy at Texas. This game tonight means the world to him. Winning a Big 12 championship last year so that his year would go up in the stadium was a big deal to him. He doesn't show that stuff. He doesn't talk about it, but that stuff matters to him. So the last thing he wants to do is transfer somewhere else. But if the NIL money is crazy and, there's a school that makes sense for him, I guess he's got to think about it. But if he lights it up tonight and plays like he did against Alabama last year, Texas is going to win the game tonight. So if he, the script is not written yet for this guy. And I kept saying that to people because they're like, oh, he's going this way, he's going that way. I'm like, you just got to wait with this one because Quinn did not have final say. I think he did it for his family to take the NIL money to go to Ohio State. I don't think that was his first choice. But after that, he told his family, listen, I'm in charge. I'm doing this. So I think it's going to be real interesting. I still think he goes to the NFL because even if he gets drafted as a guy who needs to wait in the wings, I think he's fine with that. He probably wants to learn a little bit more, needs to polish up that deep ball so it doesn't float quite as much. But yeah, I think tonight's going to be really interesting. I expect Quinn Ewers to look more like he did against Alabama.
I'm going to ask you about Steve Sarkisian because, it's Mike Greenberg, who I guess is the biggest vocal point on this. But they were talking about it on ESPN on Greenberg's show, saying that he believes the Cowboys are waiting on Sark's season to be done and that's who Jerry Jones wants to be the next coach of the Cowboys. Have you heard anything like that? And do you think Sark has the future back in the NFL, or is he going to be happy running this Texas machine, you think?
Well, I think Sark is smart enough to know how good he has it right now. He wants to emulate Nick Saban. So he's on the right track. Back-to-back college football playoffs. He's got the cupboard full. Why on earth would you go work for the definition of insanity in Jerry Jones? So, look, I think if he wins a national championship, he might, both of his mentors, Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, won national championships, went to the NFL. For Carroll, he stayed. Saban was like, get me to Alabama. So, I don't think there's anything to this right now, but I don't know Sark's, I don't know what makes him tick other than, he wants to get to the promised land. He's closer to the promised land right now at Texas than he would be with any NFL team.
All right, he is Chip Brown at Chip Brown 247 on social media. Get all his coverage tonight of Texas and Ohio State there in Dallas. Chip, thank you very much for the time. Enjoy the game. Always good talking to you.
Appreciate you, fellas.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. Chip with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Quick update on that, Dunaway. Tom Pelissaro, NFL Network, reporting during the interview with Chip, I saw that apparently McCarthy and Jerry Jones are open to keeping this together, is his report. There haven't been any negotiations yet, but apparently both sides are interested in McCarthy continuing as the Dallas head coach. So we'll see.
The show brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them is our friends at A+. Just above Brown's head is that beautiful master bathroom.
Yeah, it's just right upstairs here. A+ tile and A+ Bath and Kitchen is who did it. A+bathandkitchen.com is the name of the company. Brad Bell is the guy you'll be dealing with there. He does tremendous work. And Scott shows you all the time the before and afters of our master bathroom. When it came time to redo the bathroom, my wife was like, okay, we got to get it done. I want the right person. So she scoured the internet looking for the right person. She picked Brad at A+ Bath and Kitchen, and I'm glad she did. They did tremendous work for us, and they were on time every single day. Every single day, they were kind, they were courteous, they were clean. At the end of the day, the foreman would bring us in and say, okay, here's everything we did today. Let's make sure it meets your specifications. I mean, that's just, you don't always get that when you do these types of projects. So if you're looking for master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets, or really anything, but that's Brad's specialty, master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets, go to aplusbathandkitchen.com. That's aplusbathandkitchen.com, or call this number, 205-422-1758, 422-1758, aplusbathandkitchen.com.
Yep. Also by our friends at Hemphill, they bring you the lock every day. Lanceslock.com, lanceslock.com.
Yeah, hey, make that phone call. Make sure, look, if you don't have that heat up and running today, I don't know what you're doing. But these are the guys. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Adam, Chad, Andrew, those guys are on standby. Any of these issues arise in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. Hard to stop a train.
All right. And it's time now for our spotlight brought to you by McCurry. Brown, tell us about McCurry, and we'll get into our college football spotlight today.
Yeah, McCurry Van and Car Rental. They're the rental company you could depend on. All kinds of vehicles to choose from: trucks, SUVs, passenger vans, easy to rent, in and out fast. Locations right there in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. And call and reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com, McCurryRentals.com.
Our spotlight today focuses in on Carson Beck and the decision that came out last night. Now, it may sound like he's decided already on the NFL, but January 15th is the deadline. So he's not 100% out of the NFL rotation. He could still declare for the draft, but he has entered the transfer portal in college. He has put a do not contact tag on his entry into the portal, which usually means you have one or two places that you are going to negotiate with and go to. First off, I want to talk about the bad breakup with Georgia, because according to the reports, Carson Beck and his camp let Kirby Smart know minutes before it broke on social media that Carson Beck was going to enter the portal and search out a new deal in the NIL world. That sounds like a bad breakup to me, that Georgia's not in the mix for this.
Well, let's go back to something that you guys brought up. I wasn't in Atlanta with you for the SEC championship, but when Gunnar Stockton came in, you guys said the energy changed. Kirby Smart acknowledged that, right?
Yep.
Yes.
He did.
And I think that was the moment. I mean, if you watch this past weekend, and look, you have no idea what's going through a 21-year-old's head. But, after Gunnar Stockton threw his first touchdown career pass, I think it was it Cash Jones? Anyway,
right.
Yeah.
They flashed immediately to Beck, and he just, there was no emotion. He seemed kind of out of it on the sideline. Again, you never know what's going on, so you hate to speculate that. But, for Kirby and Georgia just to find out minutes before, this seems like it was a done deal behind the scenes. I'm going to be very surprised if the landing destination is not Miami and Mario Cristobal.
Do you think some of that's because he's dating one of the Cavender twins and that's where they are? Is that why everybody is saying Miami, you think?
I never even thought about it till you just said it, Brown. But
okay,
Well, I have it written down here, Brown, but I was thinking to myself, those girls, they started off at Stanford. How much eligibility do they have left?
It's not eligibility, but the Cavender twins, Miami's probably a pretty good spot to live for them, doing what they do for a living, right?
Wearing thongs?
Well, I'm just saying, it's good weather for thongs. So
it's good thong weather.
It's good thong weather. So why not stay there? And Lance, I'm not saying that was the case. I'm just saying, when it happened immediately, I saw a lot of people saying Miami. And then a lot of people like, well, of course, that's where his girlfriend is in Miami.
Yeah, look, that makes a lot of sense. And obviously, Miami's got a pretty good collective. It's no telling what they paid Cam Ward this past year. I don't think you're going to get the production you got with Cam Ward. I think Carson Beck is a really good quarterback. He probably, if I'm guessing, had maybe the most drops in all of college football this year. He didn't have a ton of skill around him. So I know people are going to be like, this guy's overrated or whatever. I just wonder long-term, because I think we all agreed that Georgia I know they finished the year ranked number 2 and they won another SEC championship, but Georgia just looked kind of a shell of themselves recently. And now you wonder what they're going to do at quarterback. Is Gunnar Stockton the answer? I think he can be good, but he's one of those guys that's going to need skill around him like Stetson Bennett had.
I believe Georgia is going with Gunnar Stockton right now. I believe Ohio State's going to go with Julian Sayin. I don't think Ohio State's in the portal market. I think they're going to ride with the one-time Alabama signee, and a guy quickly went after the Saban retirement to Ohio State. So I'm with you, LT. I think Miami's the destination. One NFL scout who covers the SEC said it's the smart thing to do for Beck to come back. We have him as a day 3 guy in the draft.
Yeah.
Day 3 is 4th through 7th round, correct?
But it is. And one other point on that. Now, he didn't have this piece of information. Well, he could have. He just had not seen it play out the way it did last night. You know, we brought this up earlier in the show when we were talking about Jalen Milroe's prospects in the NFL. We mentioned that teams might be more desperate to take quarterback this year because next year's crop does not look great. And I know watching this game last night, you're not going to believe what we've been saying. Drew Aller's going to be one of the hot prospects of the NFL.
Man, if you get bored today on your snow day, look at some mock drafts. People still have Aller. Some people have him the 4th quarterback going in the 1st round. So, like, you know, I wouldn't be completely blown away. I think Aller will come back. And I think, you know, if he cleans some things up, he'll be a 1st round guy. But I wouldn't be shocked if he comes out.
Yeah. So, I mean, Dunaway, I think it's probably the right thing for Beck to do. Go to another program, flush everything that happened last year, show them I'm not who you saw last year. I'm who you saw 2 years ago, and help your draft stock.
Well, let's not forget, he didn't have a 700-yard rusher. He didn't have an 800-yard receiver, or had one 800-yard receiver, didn't have a 900-yard receiver. It's not like he had a ton of skill around him.
But
again, a lot of drops. I
mean, Dunaway, do you if you're an NFL scout or an NFL GM or head coach, do you look at him and say, how much of that first year success was Brock Bowers? I mean, Brock Bowers disappeared, and so did Carson Beck.
Yeah, or Ladd McConkey, you know, who's, you know, probably making all rookie team at the NFL right there. Absolutely. He's a guy that is an enigma. And you factor in that he had a pretty serious UCL surgery. And Kirby's been honest about how serious that is. If he goes to a new school or if he gets ready for the NFL, he won't be going through spring practice. So I don't know how you are about, you know, if you go to Miami, your first time on the field with people is going to be right up near game time in August.
Yeah, or if you're going to the NFL, you can't do the combine. And
I think more, you know, again, I think 90% he's going to end up in Miami. He will get to learn the offense, you know, standing around in spring. Probably won't start throwing until summer. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, is he going to be ready for September or not? I do know Carson Beck has got a live arm. He can make all the throws. He's got a lot of confidence. It was a disappointing year, though. It was a disappointing year for Georgia, and Georgia won a playoff game.
Highest paid,
or though they didn't win a playoff game. Excuse me.
No, they lost one. Yeah.
Highest paid player in portal history is what they're expecting to be. What do you think that'll end up being? Cash value?
$5 million.
Well, I mean, what did Mensa get at Duke? The report was.
Well, it was $4 million. $8 million over 2 years.
I mean, wouldn't you say you would pay Carson Beck more than you would Darian Mensa?
Yeah. That's why I think the number is going to be $5 million. I think a lot of that is going to be based on the fact that they don't know how healthy he's going to be. That's a big number, though. And if you're Carson Beck, why would you not take that?
Yeah, I'm with you.
But let me ask you guys this: if Ewers, and you heard Chip, and I tend to believe what Chip says when it comes to Texas football. If Ewers really wants a legacy when it comes to Texas, but if Ewers was to come out in the portal, would you rather have Ewers or Beck?
Ewers.
Oh, Beck looked better last year.
I know, but again, I'm worried that was Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, I think Beck has like more natural skill, but Ewers is such a likable guy.
I felt like, and it really showed its head in the cocktail party. I felt like Beck got in a bad mental spot this year. And that's what would worry me. Like in that cocktail party, you know, he'd throw a pick and he'd come off and he'd just, you know, he was sitting like that. I don't know, man. I don't feel like, I know Quinn Ewers has had struggles, but I just don't see, it just doesn't look like it's as mental as it is for Beck.
Truthfully, Beck looks whipped right now. I won't use the P part of it, but he looks whipped. Like his whole personality has changed for that good-looking girl from Miami.
Easy to say. You guys remember the drive back when you were 21?
Yeah.
But man, if I'm advising this kid, you don't need a serious relationship. Like this is the worst thing. And look, I mean, what are the long-term, you know, potential for him and one of these Cavender twins ending up together? Who knows? But you know, I wouldn't be surprised if that, you know, comes to an end sooner than later. And yeah, I agree with you, Dunaway. Like that's like clutter you don't need.
Yeah, I mean, all year he looked like that's been topic number one on his brain, and not football. So Georgia moves on, and Carson Beck moves on forward. Brought to you by our friends at McCurry. That's our spotlight.
McCurryRentals.com. All the vehicles you look to rent right there at McCurry's. McCurryrentals.com.
And our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa as we approach the top of hour number one here. Woodhouse Day Spa. When the snow melts and the ice melts, what about a warm, relaxing day at Woodhouse?
Yeah. Hey, look, Woodhouse open. If you can get up there right now and you just want to go chill out on your day off, your snow day, you can do it at the Woodhouse Day Spa. Voted America's best day spa since 2009. They have so many different options to choose from. Over 70, including body treatment, skincare, nail services, waxing, massages. You can buy gift cards online 24/7. Easy gift right there. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com or just stop by the Summit Shopping Centers, Woodhouse Day Spa. Beautiful location. Go see Stuart and all the fine folks. Tell them the next round sent you.
I want to ask you the state of Kirby Smart's program right now, because in fairness, okay, every time something like this happened for Nick Saban in Alabama from 2010 through the end of Nick Saban's time, everyone would write stories or have talking points and segments and shows on television and radio. The dynasty is dead. The dynasty is dead. What is going on with Nick Saban at Alabama? Alabama, the time has passed them by. So out of respect to Georgia and Kirby Smart, I've got to ask the question, where's the state of Kirby Smart's program right now? Is the dynasty dead? Has the game passed Kirby by? All the things you said about Nick Saban, it does feel a little different in Athens, Georgia right now than it did going into this season.
Yeah, I'm not ready to pack dirt on Kirby. I mean, he's not even 50 yet. As far as wins, this is his worst season. Take 2020 out of the mix because the abbreviated season since 2018 with 11 wins. It looked like a team that was, I don't know. I mean, coming into the playoffs, by the way, Nick Saban's not really good at predictions, but he said that Georgia was going to win the national championship. And going back last year, as good as Michigan was, if Georgia would have gotten in that 14 playoff, I think most people would have favored Georgia to win it. So I'm not ready to say that Georgia is dead. It's the first time, though, since his first season that he lost multiple games in the SEC in conference play.
Can you at least have to leave the door open for the possibility that all dynasties are dead in this new system, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, I know we like to compare it to the NFL with the playoff, and you could still have dynasties in the NFL, just ask the Kansas City Chiefs. But there is far less player movement in the NFL than we have in college. Until that gets fixed, and I don't know when that'll be, but it'll be at some point. With the player movement we have, keeping a dynasty going is going to be near impossible, I think. Like, Nick Saban could not have done at Alabama what he did in this world, right? Where players can just leave at the spur of the moment. You've always got to worry about the NIL and getting outbid.
You can't build a quarterback room.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, Nick Saban had Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones, 3 NFL starters in the same quarterback room. You can't do that now. Like, Tua would not have stuck around. He probably wouldn't have had he not gotten in at the second half of the national championship game. He might have left even sooner in the transfer portal world. So I think, Jim, you got to leave the door open for the possibility that dynasties are dead, not just Georgia's.
Yeah, it has been such a weird look for Georgia this year. And their schedule was tougher, but they had the 2 regular season losses, and now they lose in the playoffs. They are SEC champions. It just feels different with Kirby Smart and company. And he's an old school guy. I wonder how much, I told you the story. The Athletic reported that he has that sheet of paper that you walk in and he slides it over. Okay, here's what you get at your position when you come in. You become a starter, you get this and NIL money. You start making plays, you do this and this. It's all laid out, and that's not the world at some places in the NIL. They'll run the market up on you. I just wonder how it'll work for Kirby Smart. He's not Dabo Swinney. He's doing it differently, but he has a way of doing things, and I just wonder if it's going to work.
We speculated, 4 years ago, whenever it was at SEC media days, will Kirby get out sooner than later? Is this going to be a different world than him grinding it out into his 70s like a lot of these coaches? And I still believe he will get out sooner than later. But let's not forget, as bad as this year was, they still had a bye. They won the SEC, and they beat Texas not once but twice, a team that is playing for their right to go and play for a national championship tonight. So I still think if you were to line it up, the best coaches in college football, I still put Kirby number one.
I think I would too. All right. That's our first hour. One more hour to go here. We'll get LT's four downs in just a second. The show being brought to you by the Golfist. Boy, if any day ever screams Golfist more than today, I don't know which one.
Yeah, I hope they're open because I guarantee you, if they can get in there in Vestavia and Trussville, they will open up because it's a perfect day to be in there. It's always 70 degrees in the Golfist. I normally say no rain. I'll say it today, no snow, no ice inside the Golfist, no wind. It's Birmingham's best golf simulators. They're at the Golfist. I mentioned Vestavia, Highway 31 right there in Vestavia. They've been open there for quite a while. They are now open on Van Road in Trussville. That's just off Highway 11, 3575 Van Road. And soon out on Highway 280. It's a great place for parties. You think about a couple shower, NFL games coming up. You want to watch the game while having some fun. The Golfist is a great place to do it. You can watch the game and play on the simulators there. Bring your own food, bring your own drink, and bring your own clubs to the Golfist. Don't go to the office. Go to the Golfist. You can book a bay online and find out more. TheGolfist.com. TheGolfist.com.
Also by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. They bring you the final hour of the show. Down at Champy's, man, always cooked to order, brined overnight, cooked to order, comes out piping hot. It's the best fried chicken you'll ever taste. It's right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Sterling does it the same way over and over and over for a decade now at that location. Consistent greatness. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more is our friends at champyschicken.com. Back to football in just a second, but as you wake up today, basketball-wise, first off, I will tell you a couple of new basketball show podcasts are out, including Anthony McLemore, who joined Taylor and I to talk about Bruce Pearl and what it took for Bruce Pearl to build the Auburn program. Auburn wakes up today back at number 1 in the Ken Palm. Duke drops behind them at number 2. I would assume it was a strength of schedule little matriculation there because last night Oregon, who beat Alabama, outlasted, came back and beat Ohio State, who Auburn beat by 1,000. 73-71 in a great Big Ten game. But Oregon wins that one last night. Auburn back to number 1 in the Ken Palm. Bama up to number 7 in the Ken Palm as we go into the weekend. If you're wondering about your SEC slate tomorrow, starts things off really early at 12 noon on the SEC Network is the Auburn game at South Carolina. Vandy's at Missouri. Florida in an interesting one at 3 o'clock at ESPN in Arkansas. The Hogs are 0-2 and really underachieving right now after playing a couple of tough games to start off the season. Tennessee and Texas, a big marquee game tomorrow at 5 on ESPN. Oklahoma and Georgia, LSU and Ole Miss tomorrow. And then the Kentucky, Mississippi State, Alabama, Texas A&M night slate. Bama and Texas A&M completes the triple header of SEC on ESPN. Kentucky, Mississippi State, sneaky game. State's up to 15 in the Ken Palm. And I don't think anybody's sleeping on Chris John's team over there anymore. So,
yeah,
State's rolling. Right.
Yeah, they are. First of all, I want to say I've gotten good feedback. I have not been able to watch the episode you guys did with McLemore, but I've heard he's really good, Dunaway. So I look forward to seeing that. I was going to ask Lance, what do you think the point spread is on Alabama, Texas A&M, Lance?
So the game is in College Station.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that I laid them as I didn't give a point total, but I said Alabama definitely would be the underdog.
Yeah, I think it's A&M 1.5 to 2.5. I would say A&M 2.5.
I'll do a quick check. My bookie sometimes gets the
day out. There's probably, because the slate is so bad and was abbreviated last night, there's probably some of the marquee Saturday games will be up right now.
Yeah, normally Furman would be with us right here, but he can't do video today. He was he told you all to be safe. The smart ass that Furman can be sometimes. He's like, wow, one couple inches of snow. We can't do I can't be on the show. Y'all be safe, man. Take care of yourself. Normally he'd be with us, but because of that he can't. Sometimes my bookie will have the big games up the day before. So I'll take a look at that, Dunaway, and see if I can find it. I will say, though, real quick, while I'm pulling them up, that Ohio State is still a 6-point favorite there at mybookie.ag, but they do not have the Bama game up yet. They got a couple of Saturdays up. I'll check it back later.
Okay, we'll get back to Ohio State and Texas, 6:30 ESPN tonight, football-wise in just a second. But right now, 4 Downs is brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice, LT.
5 great locations. I'm sure they're all open today. Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood, created by Jeff Bajaya, his brothers Jason and Chris. Continue to celebrate his legacy. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information and to check out that incredible menu, go to slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Yeah, first down. You get used to that. You get used to that, don't you?
Moving forward, more national championships. Ryan Day or Steve Sarkisian?
So, Dunaway, you brought up the whole Jerry Jones thing. And again, the reports are that Mike McCarthy and Dallas are equally interested in working something out here. So that would take it off the table. I mean, do you feel like that's a possibility, Jim?
That's Sark.
Of Sark going to Dallas. Yeah.
I think it's easy to draw that because he's the coach at Texas, and Dallas Cowboys are big in Texas, and blah 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 blah. I don't know if Sark's final destination is if he wants to be in the NFL, because if it is, it's a lot easier to be an NFL coach than it is a college coach right now. So if you get that opportunity, especially with a brand like the Cowboys, because say what you will about Jerry Jones being crazy and this and that, they're very, very loyal to their coaches. Jason Garrett and now Mike McCarthy, they've given McCarthy a lot. They gave Jason Garrett many, many years. And who was the coach before Garrett? Parcells?
It was Dave Campa, Wade Phillips, or Chan Gailey.
I think it was Wade Phillips. Yeah. I think it was Wade Phillips.
A series of bad coaches right there. Yep. But other than that, they stick with people a long, long time. If Jerry wants you, it can be a reliable brand job. It just depends. So do you want to be at Texas where you got all the NIL money, or do you want to be with the biggest brand in the NFL, the Cowboys?
I was on with Chip yesterday, and, he brought up the fact that a lot of Texas fans are upset because they think Schefter reported this just as a favor to Jimmy Sexton. And you guys see this a lot with leverage. And people just float that out there. Sark at Atlanta, most infamous for him and Dan Quinn blowing a 28-3 lead. The very next year, Sark's offensive numbers went up and he was still fired. I agree with you. I think Jerry Jones is one of these loyal to a fault, and more so because he likes to get guys in he can control. And that's the problem with Sark. If you were to go to Dallas, you don't have any control. I think he's got almost full autonomy right now in Austin. And I said this yesterday to Chip. I don't know how you guys feel about this. There's only 32 NFL jobs, but Texas to me is one of the top 5 to 10 in all of football jobs. With this collective, and back to the original question, Day or Sark, those are probably the 2 biggest collectives and the 2 biggest NILs that, you're going to have moving forward. So I don't think either one of the programs is going away. I've got a little more confidence in Day and Ohio State. So I would say Day and Ohio State. And I do think Sark stays in Austin.
Yeah. I think I would probably go Day on this one. Sark leaving to the NFL would clinch it, though. I guess Day could. I mean, he's been mentioned in NFL circles before.
I really haven't heard that, but
I've heard Day mentioned as a potential NFL coach. I mean, the one I never really heard was Matt Campbell, and it looks like he's the one that's closest to doing it right now.
Yeah, let's do second down.
So Marcus Freeman, 39. Congratulations on the win last night. Boy, to be 39 coaching for a national championship. Yeah. I think he's single. And obviously you hear
No, he's married with kids. I saw him with his wife last night. Yeah, he's married with kids.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's got that jawline that snaps.
That's right, a snatched jawline. So if he was single, Lance,
Anyway, married, 39 with that job and everything. Great future for Marcus Freeman. But if I asked you guys, moving forward, who wins a national championship first? And he has an opportunity on the 20th. But would you go Brian Kelly at LSU or Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame?
I would probably, Marcus Freeman. If I had to bet on that one, he's in the game right now. And how far is Brian Kelly from being in the national championship game? And on top of all of that, Freeman's path is much easier, Dunaway, to get to the playoffs.
but would you not? I mean, like, if we went back a year ago, and
I would have said Brian Kelly.
Yeah, and I told you guys Notre Dame was playing for a national championship, you'd be like, there is no chance. And
No.
I like Riley Leonard, but Riley Leonard wasn't going to be the difference maker that was going to take you through a bracket and play for a national championship. So my point is, I think LSU next year can be in this game.
I'd be surprised.
I like Marcus Freeman more. Brian Kelly has accomplished more just because he's coached a lot longer. But I am going to, just based on LSU's brand, I'm going to lean LSU. But, man, I think Notre Dame is really making some waves.
Yeah.
I think it can build on itself. So I'm gonna go Marcus Freeman here. I'll take Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I tell you, a key to Marcus Freeman staying where he is. I really like what Al Golden has done defensively. I don't know that Al Golden is a
He's not.
attractive head coaching hire for people. We've seen it; it didn't work.
He will stay there, I think. And and if I don't know how you guys feel from Jack Swarbrick, from Marcus Freeman, whatever you got to pay Al Golden, you pay.
Yes, that defense is so good, and Al Golden's done a tremendous job with them. So as long as you can keep him there. I don't, and Denbrock too. Denbrock was at LSU. He goes back to Notre Dame. I don't know what his head coaching prospects are. He feels like he's got a staff he could keep together for a little bit. So I think I'll go Marcus Freeman here.
Well, let's do third down.
So Pat Benatar is 72 years old today. If I asked you, ultimately better career, Pat Benatar or Pat McAfee? Just a little background on Benatar, because I think she's kind of forgotten. But she is somebody that has won multiple Grammys.
Love
she's
the Battlefield. Hit me with your best shot.
Yeah, I mean, she's got iconic songs. Number one songs, top 10 songs. She's made a ton of money. And McAfee, look, was a good, solid NFL player, but really has made his waves, obviously, in the broadcast format.
Yeah,
and has done a great job with that, and obviously on game day, and is one of the faces of college football. Is there an appetite for McAfee for the next 20, 25 years? I don't know.
Laura asked if Pat Benatar is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I
think she is, yeah.
Yeah, she is.
Who sang Angel in the Morning? Just call me Angel.
I think that was Juice Newton.
Huh?
Yeah, Juice Newton.
Is that Juice Newton? Okay.
Yeah, Pat Benatar net worth $40 million. McAfee's net worth $60 million.
Yeah.
Wow, $60 million for McAfee.
Yeah. I'm gonna go McAfee.
I think McAfee is bigger to us because we're sports people. I don't know that his popularity transcends sports fans. Benatar's did. I mean, you can. I think music popularity is obviously bigger than sports media popularity. But I think I would still go McAfee by the end of his career. I mean, he's pretty early in his career still.
I'm going to go Pat Benatar just because, musicians are more immortalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fourth down.
Two celebrity birthdays here. Rod Stewart is 80 years old. George Foreman, former heavyweight champion, 76. Better career, Rod Stewart or George Foreman?
Have you ever cooked anything on a Rod Stewart grill, Lance?
No, and look, and that's what this comes down to, guys.
Yep.
I mean, because Rod Stewart is obviously an iconic musician. George Foreman, back when heavyweight championships were the biggest thing in sports, he did hold one of those. He was able to make a comeback into his 40s. But his decision after Hulk Hogan passed on the George Foreman grill,
huge.
I mean, I don't even know what the net worth is, but they still sell the hell out of those things at Targets and Walmarts all over the place.
Yeah.
George Foreman's net worth is $300 million.
Woo.
Yeah, but I would think Rod Stewart's it got to be that much, right?
I don't know. He blew it all.
That might be the highest boxer net worth of all time, because boxers.
That's such a bad rumor, Dunaway. Such a bad rumor.
$300 million for Rod Stewart too.
Oh wow, they're
$300
tied.
million. Yep,
they're tied. I think I would. Ooh, this is a tough one.
I think I would go Rod Stewart.
I was going to say Rod Stewart
because I would rather be known for being an international rock star that sold out crowds than a dude that had some grill that fell into his lap.
If my net worth was $300 million, I don't care what I'm known.
Oh, dude! Yeah. I mean, you can. I don't care what the product is. Like,
I'll sell them all.
Yeah, like if I got rich, I don't know. What would be like one of the most, like if you're tampons, like I could be the biggest brand of tampon, and it could be
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
kind of like crazy
Hey,
tampon that I created.
Everybody's got to have them.
Hey,
Yeah.
honey. Yeah, while you're at Publix, can you get me the Taylor Heavy Flows?
That's
Yes.
right. Yes.
Wouldn't
Hey,
bother you?
I
yeah,
got no
not at
problem.
all. Not if I
Yeah.
not if I'm sleeping on a $300 million pillow. It wasn't done away.
Right. So that's Four
Yeah.
Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice. 5 locations, lunch or dinner. Get in and see the Bajaya brothers, from the hot mama to the soul pie. You're going to absolutely love it. For more information, and check out the menu, slicebirmingham.com.
Hey, we're about to talk a little NFL, and then we'll circle back to college football. Are you doing trash today? I need to know. As far as
Yeah,
the
I've
show
got
ending.
trash. I mean, we can save it for Monday. We could do it today. It really doesn't matter to me. I haven't. This is the first time, literally in years, I have not pre-read trash. But
Wow.
we do have
Yeah.
it.
I will tell you that health-wise, I'm feeling a little bit worse as we go along here.
Yeah. You're under the
Um,
weather. Jim is fighting
yeah.
through it right now.
Yeah, but if you need to tap out at any time, I mean, we
yeah,
can take it to the
we can finish
line.
the show.
I am going to run to the bathroom here quickly. I apologize for that. I was going to try to make it to both the whole time. If you can tell us about Johnson RV and Dr. B, and then if I'm not back in time, get into the transition about the Vikings-Ram games being
Yeah.
moved, and we'll get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll get Lance's thoughts on that as you come back. Before you tell him about Dr. B, LT, Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Right now, they want you to remember that with the calendar flipping to 2025, that means they got to get rid of the 2024s, and they're also trying to make room for the 25s because show season is coming up once this cold snow and ice gets out of here. So they've got units priced below invoice. The Shasta 16 RE, just $149 a month with approved credit. That's lightweight, can be towed by just about any truck or SUV. The Avenger 29 QBS, it can sleep up to 10, just $279 a month with approved credit. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything that is qualifying pre-owned or new. JohnstonRVCenter.com, JohnstonRVCenter.com, and LT, Dr. B.
My man, Dr. B, best in the business. Again, when we started this venture years ago, I noticed that I was thinning out in the back, the crown of my head. I went to see Dr. Beckenstein. I heard he was the best in the business. Since that moment, I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Excuse me. Dr. B offers Sensus Transdermal Infuser. This enables Dr. B to get various medicines and therapies into the scalp where the hair follicles are without using any injections. This is revolutionary, as Dr. B can pinpoint delivery of a patient's genetically specific products without any needles. Again, 205-319-0316. Tell him the next round sent you. For more information, you can always go online. Go to t3hair.net.
Right. So Vikings Rams moved last night to Arizona. We knew yesterday on the show that it was about a 75% chance it was going to happen. It ends up happening, LT. You know that everything's bigger than a football game that's going on in Los Angeles. But just from the sports perspective, take away the carnage that is going on in Los Angeles. This is it's an advantage Vikings that game is moved from Los Angeles to Phoenix.
Yeah, it is definitely an advantage Vikings. You know, you fight for 17 weeks and, you know, you win a division and that is your reward. You get to host one of these wild card games. And unfortunately for the Rams, that is not going to be the case. But you're right. I mean, there is bigger with everybody being displaced and all of the destruction right now in Southern California. You know, girlfriend Maddie, one of her best friends, they lost their house. She's pregnant, had to walk 5 miles, her and her husband.
Oh, my God, no.
To try to get to safety. I mean, the things that are going on right now and the reports you're hearing about how ill-prepared California was for this, it's baffling. But, yeah, there's no way that you can get first responders and, you know, everything that you need to properly run one of these games. So, you know, it's unfortunate. And I go back to the Rams, you know, their worst loss of the season was on this field. There's just something, the Rams always seem off on this field. They lost 41-10 earlier this year to the Cardinals. I do think it's going to be a factor in the game. I lean the Rams were going to win this game. I kind of lean the Vikings now.
You know, even if you could pull it off, Dunaway, just a horrible image for the NFL to do it, right? Like, even if you could say, okay, we've got the people we need to pull it off, it's just an awful image. And this allows you to get out of town. They can build, you know, I guarantee you'll see a bunch of Red Cross or whatever the charity is that they'll ask people to give to, you know, to help those that have been displaced. So, you know, it'll be an opportunity for the NFL to give back Monday night and help some people out. I'm with Lance. I'm with you. It's a huge win for the Vikings here, unfortunately. And they've got, there are a lot of Vikings fans. That's an old school NFL team. I am not surprised if this feels kind of like a 50-50 crowd. I think you'll have a lot of Cardinals fans that show up to cheer against a division rival. I think you'll have a lot of Vikings fans that'll find their way there. This is at best going to feel kind of like a bowl game, right? Or I was going to say Super Bowl.
If I'm an old school Viking fan and like you want to get out of that shitty weather that we're dealing with right now, and you can jump a direct flight from Minneapolis to Phoenix, and you probably can get a ticket for pennies on the dollar now. I think it's a nice extended weekend trip. And I think a lot of people, and I agree with you, I think it's going to be a 50-50 split. I think even at SoFi, you probably would have gotten like a 75-25 split because SoFi, much like Dallas, just one of these venues where a lot of the opposing fans show up. But yeah, I think the home field is completely gone now in this situation. Yeah. And, if you're the Rams, you're just hoping to see Sam Darnold that you saw this past weekend against Detroit.
How about your StubHub get-in is $146
in Arizona or in SoFi?
In Arizona. No, they're already selling the Arizona tickets. I guess I don't know how they sold those. I don't know if they all sold on secondary market or what. But yeah, $146 for a get-in. That shows you the power of the NFL, doesn't it? They pick up a game, a couple days before it's played, move it to a market that neither of the teams play in, and your get-in is $146. That's pretty crazy.
Let's bounce around to all the games that'll be played this weekend. That game's Monday, by the way, Vikings Rams. So we'll have another chance to talk about that. But let's do the Saturday and Sunday games. Brought to you by our friends at New Life Art. If you're looking for great Alabama artwork from great sports moments over the year with the Crimson Tide, including the Legend, a tribute to Nick Saban and his 6 national championships in Tuscaloosa, go to newlifeart.com to check it out there. All the other great works you get, remember, coupon code is TNR. TNR gets you 20% off right there. newlifeart.com. Check that stuff out right there. First game on the slate tomorrow, 3:30 on CBS. It's Chargers and Texans in that contest in Houston there. Chargers already out of LA. A lot of people are saying dark horse Super Bowl contender in the Chargers. They got to get past the Texans first on the road. What do you think?
Well, look, Justin Herbert, not to the degree that Lamar Jackson has had, but Justin Herbert, the knock hasn't done anything in the postseason. He's only had one opportunity. He's 0-1. This is a good Chargers team that I think the defense has really carried them more than the offense. We talked about Ladd McConkey earlier in the show. He has been fantastic, and that is the go-to right now for Justin Herbert. On the other side, the Houston Texans, one of the biggest surprises, if not the biggest surprise in the NFL last year, with a rookie head coach and DeMeco Ryans, a rookie quarterback, and C.J. Stroud. Not only did they get to the postseason, they won a game. So they do have a little experience there. I actually think Houston is going to win this game. I'm in the minority. I think everybody thinks Chargers are going to move forward here. I kind of like Houston.
Well, Houston's a 3-point home dog, and you don't, in the playoffs, a 3-point home dog. That's it's saying a lot to be a road favorite in the playoffs, I guess is what I'm getting at there. So it's an interesting pick by you. It just feels like, Lance, that those injuries stacked up too much at the receiver spot for them. And it's been tough on CJ Stroud. That offense has just gotten throttled down as they've lost those stars on the outside. So
yeah, Diggs and Dale both out.
Yeah.
So
it's
a lot of Mechie's going to have to come through. You have to be a big number 2.
Well, Nico Collins, Dallas Schultz, Robert Woods. I mean, you've got some veteran guys, though. So, I do think those are factors. I think it's going to be more about this Texans defense putting a lot of pressure on Herbert.
Yeah. The other game in primetime tomorrow night, pretend it's Thursday. It's on Amazon only. So it's streaming. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, 7:00, Amazon there. And I've got an interesting fact about this here. Baltimore this century wins the Super Bowl every 12 years. They won one in 2001. They won one in 2013. That's the year of the Super Bowls, 2000 season, 2012 season, which means 2025, it's cycled around for the Ravens common again. But more deeply, look at this. Trent Dilfer and Joe Flacco were the quarterbacks of those teams. This is from Yahoo Sports. Trent Dilfer was 28. Joe Flacco was 28. Lamar Jackson currently 28 years old.
Wow. I can't wait till Lamar Jackson's the UAB coach in 20 years. This is a game, Lance, where Baltimore Pittsburgh's had their number. Now, again, the actual number is 9.5 because Pittsburgh has lost 4 straight and their offense is so pedestrian right now. But for whatever reason, even with pedestrian offense, they've been able to beat Baltimore, and Zay Flowers is out, that's a massive, massive injury for Baltimore.
Yeah, that is a big injury. And Mike Tomlin is a guy that has had a lot of success against the Ravens. I've got his record right here against the Ravens.
Hey, by the way, Dunaway, add to this. Jace says last time the Ravens won the Super Bowl, it was in NOLA. You know where it is this year?
It's in New Orleans.
Wow, this is adding up for Baltimore right now. How about that?
Anyway, the numbers are pretty staggering what Tomlin's been able to do, but I don't think Tomlin can overcome this. I mean, I know there's a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson, and I think this is the perfect opener. Again, they've kind of been kryptonite for the Ravens. Zay Flowers is not there, but I think the Ravens' defense against this pedestrian offense, Steelers have lost 4 consecutive games rolling into the postseason. They have scored 17 or less in all 4 of those games. This offense they can't do enough to knock off the Ravens.
Hey, how about Zach? We were talking about Lamar being the coach at UAB. Dang. He said, what's Lamar's handicap and does he need childcare at a country club?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Squeeze him in. Do it. Is he a lefty on the golf course? I don't know.
I don't know. I'll have to find out.
Yeah. By the way, I'm being told by our guy in charge at the office, Reed Taylor. He says, any of you that will send a pic of you with a snowman playing in the snow in TNR gear, we'll pick the best one, and you'll get a $200 gift card to the store.
Yeah,
So
we've had a lot sent in.
What now?
I said we've had a lot sent in already, just privately and some on social media already.
Yeah, so we've had a few already sent in. So there you go. Keep sending those in. Either post them with that next round live on social media or send them in either an email or DMs, and we will we'll curate them and come up with a winner and send that person a $200 gift card to the TNR store. So all your snowman picks, it says snowman picks. Are we going snowman only, Brown? Do you know, or can it be?
Oh man, don't make people have to build a snowman.
Yeah, let's just say
the snow in their gear.
Let's say frolicking in the snow in TNR gear,
playing with the kids, snow angels, anything like that in TNR gear gets you into the contest. Best one will be selected by the staff, which means Taylor and EG will have to choose it. $200 gift card to the TNR store is what will happen there. So that's good. That's the Saturday games. On Sunday, you start the day off Denver and Buffalo. Before we get to Denver and Buffalo, tell us about our friends at Hemp Hill LT.
205-229-2090. Trust the name Birmingham's trust since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
All right, Andrew's sending a pick in really quick with his beautiful kids out playing in the snow. No TNR gear there, Andrew. I didn't see it. Very close. I saw the Alabama logo, but no TNR gear. So
got to go back out.
Got to have TNR in there somewhere.
If you jump a snowman in TNR gear on a motorcycle, you automatically win.
Yeah, that's gonna get you right at the top right there. That's got my vote. I'm a Lance. Yep. We got to have the good video though. I mean, it's gonna have to be framed up just right. I want to be able to see everything.
And if you don't stick the landing,
that might help.
$400.
Yeah, might help.
Disclaimer here, no liability from the company. Please don't try this at home. Closed course, actors only, blah, 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 blah.
Hey, and a flammable. Could you light a snowman? Is there?
Well, that's gonna burn quick. You're gonna have to make that one. You got one take on that one, Lance. One take.
Denver and Buffalo, 12 o'clock CBS on Sunday. Bo Nix may be a bridge too far for me to believe he can go into Buffalo and win this game.
Yeah, I am shocked at how many of the experts are saying that Denver's got a fighting shot here. Denver does have an aggressive, stingy defense. Bo is playing at an extremely high level right now. But, man, much like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen just hasn't had any success in the postseason. And, this is one of those games that Sean McDermott, I'm not going to say he would get fired, but, man, if I'm a Buffalo fan, if you can't get out of first round at home against a rookie quarterback, that's a problem. There's a reason they're right at a double-digit favorite. Right now, I think the number is 8.5. But, yeah, I think the Bills take care of business here. And I think they actually win this game going away.
Yeah, Orlovsky told me yesterday he would stop short of what I said, which was if I'm a Bills fan, if not now, when, right? If I don't win it right now. because as he said, this was thought to be they're over exceeding this year. This was thought to be a rebuilding year for them. But I'm with you, Lance. I mean, like if I'm a Bills fan and I can't get this thing now, the way Josh Allen is playing, the way this team is playing, boy, I just start to wonder if I'm ever going to get one.
I mean, it's the most difficult position in sports to play at a high level is quarterback.
Yeah.
But if you've watched Josh Allen this year, he is making it look so easy. Like I can't even state the fact that going back to that Rams loss, I mean, just the throws that guy makes and then his ability to move around and he's so physical. I'm with you, Brown. He might be my Travis Kelce's still that guy. But Josh Allen is in the conversation for the most unlikable quarterback in sports to me, but he is incredible.
Yeah. By the way, Orlovsky asked me for an update, so I sent him the snow, and he said, that's a solid snowfall. I was like, that's more than solid here in Birmingham.
From a Connecticut native.
Yeah.
Pretty good snowfall.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I was watching this morning before the show started, Sports Center, and Dan Graziano that covers the NFL was on there. I thought this was interesting. He said the thing that has blown the Broncos players away the most about Bo Nix is he doesn't wear an armband. And they're like, Sean Payton's offense is really complicated in the terminology. And Bo does this thing without the armband, and they've been really, really impressed. And I think that maybe it surprises people, and I don't know even how difficult it is, but you guys know the one thing Bo had was a good football mind. I mean, he comes from those bloodlines. His dad is a coach. I don't think anybody ever doubted like his football intelligence or his mind in doing this.
Yeah, if he had not made it in the NFL, I thought he would be a great coach.
No doubt.
Hey, can I give you guys 3 snow movies to watch at some point later today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it right after we finish these Sunday slate games. Green Bay and Philadelphia, 3:30 Fox, Packers and Eagles. Jalen Hurts, full participant in practice yesterday on Thursday. So it looks like he is a full go for this game for Philadelphia.
Yeah, the way it works, Lance, is he once you're a full practice participant, that gets you to the next level of evaluation. So there's got to be another evaluation that he's got to clear now. That's the way the stages go. So once you're back as full practice participant, that gets you to the next level of evaluation. So assuming, and you'd have to assume they wouldn't put him as a full practice participant if they didn't know he could continue to advance on. But assuming he does, looks like he's playing Sunday.
Yeah, I think he will play. On the other side, Jordan Love's not 100% right now, and you lost one of your major weapons in Christian Watson this past weekend against Chicago. And this Eagles team can be so freaking good. Jalen Hurts does scare me, though. I know it's a guy that's been to a Super Bowl before. I wonder how well he's going to play on Sunday. I have got a feeling the Packers are going to go in here and pull an upset.
For Love, it's his throwing elbow. He says it is still sore, but sore is not shooting pain. If you've ever had a pinched nerve in a shoulder or something, try to throw, it's not knowing when it's going to hurt. That is the hesitant part. If you know it's sore, you can get some treatment for that for Jordan Love. Primetime game is Washington in Tampa Bay, 7 o'clock on NBC. Here's the thought about what you're seeing for the quarterback of Washington and the quarterback of Denver. Only 10 rookie quarterbacks have won. Only 10 have won their first playoff game in the history of the NFL. 2 of them in the last 2 years in Brock Purdy and C.J. Stroud. Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels gets that opportunity this week for Washington. You feel like maybe one of them can win the game, and if one of them is going to win the game, Jaden Daniels will be the better opportunity for that to happen in Tampa.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I still don't trust Tampa's defense overall. And, Baker, if he's not playing at an elite level, which he has been recently, especially at home, but if he's not, the Commanders have an opportunity here. And I think this could be one of those complete shootouts where back and forth, last team with the ball actually wins this game. So, yeah, I would lean – if you're going to get a rookie quarterback that's going to move forward, I would think it would be 6-seed Commanders over the Bucs. Again, if Bo Nix pulls off this upset, there's a lot of different narratives that can, that we could be talking about.
Yeah. Jace, by the way, says he could see all 3 lower seeds winning in the NFC.
I hope Jace is wrong.
I know you do.
Yeah.
And I know Dunaway does. I don't know if it's good.
Washington, Green Bay, Minnesota, all on the road is what he's talking about.
That's not crazy to think about. It's far more likely in the NFC than the AFC. I will say that.
Yeah, I would agree. So that's the NFL that's happening this weekend. LT's movies right after he tells us about New York Butcher Shop. Tell us about New York Butcher.
Hey, man, it's a great place to go. I don't know. I would assume Jim has both locations open, Cahaba Heights and Greystone, Highway 119. You can get in, pick up a couple of those deli sandwiches. They've got great brats, chicken, the Duroc pork chops, of course, the incredible steaks cut to order for you. A great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one stop dinner shop, rare quality, well done service, 2 locations. Stop and see Jim. Tell him the next round sent you.
I was just scoring at home here. You have Odie's open despite the weather.
Yep.
We can all walk there in Homewood and Mountain Brook. You had, surprising me, you had Woodhouse open, which is about 500 yards further than we are, and we
Yeah.
didn't go in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now here's what I forget. I got to pull
New York Butcher, huh?
because even if we would have had 0 inches fall, I was talking to a business owner yesterday, and he's like, "What do you think is going to happen?" I was like, "I don't think we're going to get anything." I was with Brown on this, and he's like, "I agree." He's like, "I already had to tell my employees, if you feel uneasy about coming in, don't." So once you say that, it doesn't matter if nothing falls, nobody's coming in. So I do need to back that up a little bit. I'll just say this: call these businesses before and see if they're open.
We had a former coworker that had the iciest driveway in Birmingham. I mean,
right.
it never failed. Yep.
Yeah.
Not gonna make it.
It's July.
No, not gonna make it. Left the hose on last night and it's below freezing. Sorry.
Can't make it. All right. Snow movies. You said you got 3 of them. Does it involve snow or just good movies to watch?
Yeah,
on
no, I've
snowy
got
days?
5. I've got 5 where the backdrop is really snow. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So I've got 5, and I'll just go in this order. So number 5, movie from the late 90s. A lot of people, Ted Demme, a guy that passed away in a pickup basketball game, but the movie is Beautiful Girls. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's an ensemble cast.
Nope.
Matt Dillon, Lauren Holly, Natalie Portman. But it's a high school reunion, takes place. I think the town is in Minnesota. Maybe it's not Minnesota, anywhere, somewhere up north, but a lot of snow there. Very, very underrated comedy.
They don't get stranded and start having to eat people, right?
No. There's ice fishing in it, though. Uma Thurman, ice fishing. Number 4 on the list, A Simple Plan. Very, very good, underrated film. Billy Bob Thornton, Bill Paxton. Just a little backdrop on it. Lundberg is the bad guy from Office Space. They're out hunting. They find a plane. It's got a lot of money in it. And Brown has said it before. You just should walk if you find a big bag of money.
I've actually seen this. Now that you mentioned, I'd forgotten this movie. I've seen this.
It's really, really good. And it's one of those kind of, I think Sam Raimi did it, kind of off the beaten path. Not a lot of people have seen it, but
yeah.
Is the plane caught in the trees?
It's
up into
it's in a wooded area.
It's in a wooded area, but it's on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the name of that movie? I've seen it. I'm like Dunaway.
Simple Plan. Bridget Fonda is Bill Paxton's wife.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a good one. Number 3, Wind River. Taylor Sheridan, if you're a fan, this is, to me, Sicario, Hell or High Water right there. But my favorite film is Wind River. Jeremy Renner is basically a kind of a do-it-all, kind of a game marshal. But his main thing is he's a sniper taking out wolves. But it's a mystery of a girl that is found dead in the middle of the snow. But it is absolutely fantastic. So if you've never seen Wind River, you will really enjoy that. Number 2, Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. My favorite director, David Fincher, Daniel Craig. It's a mystery. It's very, very dark. It's got some of the most disturbing scenes in cinema history, or one of the most disturbing scenes, but well worth the watch. And then number 1, Coen Brothers, Fargo. Fargo from 1996. Absolutely outstanding. All great snow movies.
Yeah, the accents got me, Dunaway. That accent that they were all using in Fargo, especially Frances McDormand. I just thought, I don't know, man.
She nailed it though.
I know, but it's just an annoying accent.
Yeah, it would be impossible to live around that accent in the cold all the time.
Yeah.
But Steve Buscemi's great in that. Fargo is it's one of those movies that, much like a lot of Coen Brothers movies, dark comedy. But that's 5 outstanding snow movies that you can sit back, watch as you get ready for the semifinals tonight with Texas and Ohio State.
And that we brought to you in place of trash today. Our friends at Mortgage Right. Those 5 movies It's a great way to make a snow day pass, and a great way to get into the housing market in 2025 is with our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, hey, they've been with us since day one, even going back to our terrestrial radio days. Just fantastic guys. They are your mortgage experts. Whether you're looking for your first home or your final home, there is no cost or obligation just to buzz these guys at 900-7200, 205-900-7200, or mortgageright.com/TNR, NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
And our friends at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119, they bring you the final hour of the show. Always Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster, getting you ready for the playoffs tonight. Sterling, if he's not open now, I bet he'll be open a little bit later on when the roads clear up for a nighttime Friday night on Highway 119 in Alabaster. If not, go by there on Saturday and Sunday and get the fried chicken to enjoy while watching the NFL playoffs. Brined overnight, cooked to order, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com. All right, Texas, Ohio State tonight, 6:30. Right tackle back in Cameron Williams expected for Texas. In this game, you've got that Texas defense that Chip was bragging about. I think they've been sliding a little bit since the SEC championship second half. My two takeaways: can Quinn Ewers handle the pressure of not only the big game, but also the pressure from Ohio State, because the line hasn't been fantastic? And can the Texas defense play up to its potential and slow down what has been a really good Ohio State offense? Your thoughts, LT, first.
Well, that's going to be the challenge. I think it's going to be Texas's defense, which is a really, really good unit, slowing down this Ohio State offense where Will Howard, 41 of 55, 625 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Jeremiah Smith, you have been unable to defend him, 290 yards, 4 touchdowns. Judkins and Henderson are running the football. The offense is clicking. They've only turned it over 1 time through 2 games. But more importantly for me is going to be Texas when they get their opportunities, and it's not going to be many. When they're in the red zone, they have got to cash in on touchdowns and not field goals. And I do think, going back to something Brown brought up a couple of days ago, with Bert Auburn really struggling down the stretch against Arizona State, I think Sarkisian will be more aggressive, and you're going against the best red zone defense in all of college football. They're only giving up a little over 3 points per possession in the red zone. That's Ohio State's defense. If you're Quinn Ewers, you have got to make the red zone opportunities count. If they can convert in the red zone and score touchdowns instead of field goals, I think Texas has got a shot to win this football game.
Ooh, interesting. So I wonder how much you'll see Jahdae Barron on Jeremiah Smith. Barron did he win the Thorpe, or he was?
He ran one of them.
Yeah.
One of the best DBs.
Yeah, he's one of the best DBs in the country. How often can you scheme it up to where you've got him either helping with or one-on-one on Jeremiah Smith? I think that's an awesome matchup to watch. Chip mentioned that one earlier. So that guy had 5 interceptions this year. He's one of the best DBs in the country, going against the best receiver right now in the country. So I think that's an interesting matchup to watch for Texas defense. It's crazy to say, because they're about to play maybe the best offensive player in the country in Jeremiah Smith, but they got to be thrilled they don't have to face Scadaboo, because that guy ate them alive in the second half. So, I don't know. Obviously, Scadaboo's a 1 of 1. I don't know that you're going to see anybody with Ohio State that could do that same thing. Their biggest issue is finding and stopping Jeremiah Smith, something Tennessee wasn't able to do. That's a good defense. Something Oregon wasn't able to do, and that's a good defense.
Yeah, I know that's, and you got to stop Jeremiah Smith, but you can't let Henderson and Quinshon Judkins have their carries. It becomes too easy at that point. You want to make Will Howard, who, by the way, has the top 2 QBRs in the playoffs right now. He's 1 and 2. Nobody's played better quarterback than Will Howard in the college football playoffs in that game tonight at 6:30. You playing any side of this at lancesblock.com tonight?
Yeah, I've got side and total available. Again, disappointing night last night because we had everything focused on Penn State. I really felt great about it. Up until Greathouse scored on the slip and fall when the defender went down. But then, when Penn State got the ball back, I actually had a feeling they were going to score with 47 seconds left. And then Aller throws the pick. But yeah, I've got side and total, and I feel really good about side and total tonight.
Keith says 65% of the public on Ohio State. So I know that's something you kind of monitor there, Lance. Is that Is that abnormally high for a game of this nature?
Yeah. I mean, just because I really believe if Texas would have ended up not giving up the late points, they were up 16 in the fourth quarter. Let's just say they win that game by 16. I think Ohio State is probably a 3.5 point favorite, and I think the money's a lot more split. So I think a lot of this is just based on the optics. I mean, obviously, Ohio State's been dominant through 2 games, but Texas has struggled.
Yeah, it'll be a fun game. I fully accept Texas into the SEC now as they're trying to fly that SEC flag. Man, it would be so awesome to do double birds back to all the national media who have killed the SEC since Georgia got bounced. That the SEC is dead. It's the Big Ten's world now. If Texas wins tonight, by the way, that's the SEC playing in the national championship against Notre Dame. So I'm all in cheering for Texas tonight. So it'll be fun. I'm sorry. I feel horrible. So these guys want to keep going, but I can't keep
No.
going
I'm
anymore.
good. I'm good.
Okay.
I have actually got a conference call at 11 o'clock because there's other people around this country that
That are still working.
Yeah, that don't take snow days for an inch of snow. So
Yeah, it's more than
I'm
an
good
inch.
for 15 minutes. So whatever. I don't care either way.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to shut it down at least from my end. And we've covered everything I wanted to cover that I had on my sheet today. I'm trying to look see if there's anything else I didn't get to. Oh, here's one thing. Quinn Ewers pays his mom a salary. Did you know that?
I did
Out of
not
an
know that.
NIL money.
How much she making?
He did not disclose the amount, but he's reportedly making $4 million to be the quarterback. So she's making some of the salary. I would imagine I'm not a great business mind. I assume that helps you tax wise if you're paying an employee and the mom.
Yeah. So mom is basically, I guess, doing all of his speaking engagements, NIL deals, all that kind of stuff.
I assume.
People won't remember this, but Tom Brady's sister, for the first, I don't know how many years of his career, she handled all of that stuff. So, I think doing business with family is extremely dangerous. But, when you're dealing with your mom or your sister, you're probably okay.
Yeah. And one other note I didn't say was that Penn State through 16 games, this was a story at The Athletic, I believe, this morning. Penn State, 16 games, moved their perception needle 0% this year. They are still who we thought they were.
I kind of agree. I mean, the fact that James Franklin was handed the easiest walk through this and couldn't get through just only, I think, reinforces what you think about James Franklin, doesn't it? I mean, they had the easiest path. They had the easiest path by far and couldn't even get past the semifinals.
Yeah. Okay. So this is not going to resonate well because Alabama looked so bad against Michigan in their bowl game. But, it came down, we were all watching the selection show, and it came down to Alabama or Penn State. Alabama would have won both those games. They would have beaten SMU and Boise State. I don't care what anybody says. It would have been a different situation. And I believe if Alabama, and I don't know if they would have had a double-digit lead, but I think if Alabama had a double-digit lead last night on Notre Dame, they probably win that game.
I would tend to agree with you, yes. I don't know if they could have gotten there, but yeah, I would agree with you.
All right, that's our show today. The next round, we're back in studio on Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time with a normal show. I hope everyone is safe out there. Enjoy the snow and enjoy the time you get with family. No school today. It's sort of a bonus day going to the weekend. If we're going to get a snow day, Friday seems to be the best day to do it, man. Friday,
Amen.
Saturday, Sunday. Just
Yeah,
extend
hey,
the
and I'm going to
weekend.
tweet out these 5 movies just in case.
Okay.
Yeah, in case you didn't see it. Brown, please try to watch one. Dunaway, try to watch one that you haven't seen. I want y'all's feedback. Y'all will like them. I'm telling you, all
Okay.
really good.
I'm in.
Okay. Why don't you cut a really quick 61 second TikTok video and send it to Taylor with those movies?
I will do that as well. Yes.
Yeah, that'll be a good content for Little T there. All right. Thanks to Little T handling social media. Everyone else who's contributed during the show today from our team behind the scenes, Forrester and Tyler and EG and Reed and Bo and the whole crew there. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.